Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to part 2 of the most obscure conspiracy theory, Iceberg Explained. If you don't know what an iceberg is, please go watch part 1. All right, let's hop right into it. Japanese interference in the American Civil War. So, what this one is essentially during the Civil War, Japan interfered with our military operations, but we took care of them pretty easily. 1901 Everest expedition. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's essentially saying that there was an Everest expedition prior to 1922, which was originally thought to be the first. German TV alien hijack. So this one, there was, in 2004, during a commercial on German TV, the broadcast actually went static, and then this crazy clip of an alien-like figure was shown, and then it just went right back to what was supposed to be on the TV. Sorry, I was reading my notes. But, and then, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said anything. The TV broadcast didn't mention it and apologize and say they were hacked or anything like that. So this leads people to believe, hey, maybe it was an actual alien, or maybe it was just the broadcast, pranking the viewers. Who knows? Iki Ningyo footage. I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. This is footage of what seems to be a statue of Mary crying blood. The Catholic Church was unable to debunk the situation, and the video itself is actually lost. 4chan predicted Epstein's death. So this one is kind of crazy. 36 minutes before Epstein's death was announced to the world, before the news outlets picked it up, a 4chan user actually made a post saying, this is paraphrased, not word for word. Don't ask me how I know this, but Jeffrey Epstein has died from hanging and cardiac arrest. Screen cap this. And then, like I said, about 36 minutes later, that's when the news broke that Jeffrey Epstein had died from hanging / cardiac arrest. Pretty crazy stuff. Yura Yezuzov. Sorry, it's Russian. This is an alleged Russian serial killer that is operating in Russia, obviously. He's been linked to online blogs and even personality tests, but all of these have been lost, so his identity is still unknown. Hollywood studios funded the Dominican gang wars. Doing research on this one, I couldn't find a whole lot, but I think it is pretty self-explanatory. Hollywood studios, meaning like the movie production agencies, actually funded the Dominican gang wars. Sorry, the kid's walking around. And yeah, so these are obscure conspiracy theories. Some of these I couldn't find a whole lot on, but I'll try my best to sum up what I think it is to those that I couldn't find. Alrighty, tier 5. Sandy Hook entrance CCTV footage Mandela effect. So after Sandy Hook happened, some people actually remember there being CCTV footage of Adam Lanza entering the elementary school, breaking the window. But this footage never existed. Even though there were CCTV cameras, at the entrance of the school, no footage has ever been released, but some people still remember seeing that footage. Let me know in the comments if you remember seeing that or not. 1751 French military car. This is a weirder theory. So cars weren't accepted to be invented until the late 1800s, but in 1751, the French allegedly had a working military car that they used in military conflicts that the French had, but the cars were lost in history due to this. So they're lost. But yeah. Yingkou Falling Dragon Incident. This one is kind of crazy. It seems more like an urban legend than a conspiracy theory. In 1934, a crowd of people were seen surrounding something in the streets in the city of Yingkou. The people walking by investigated this, and they actually saw a dragon curled up on the ground in the street dying. This dragon was gray, and its eyes were still moving, but like I said, it was very weak and it was dying. So the townspeople actually built a shed around it and started pouring water onto it, right? And then a heavy rainfall came a few days later, and then the dragon was gone. And once the rain stopped, I guess they found a skeleton that they believe belonged to the dragon, and they still have this skeleton in a museum in this city. Now, some skeptics believe that the skeleton is just a whale skeleton, but what would it be doing so far away from the ocean? This guy's going fucking crazy. Look at him. He loves how the bed feels on his paws. All right. ID Software covered up the Columbine mods. So, ID Software, for those of you who don't know, created the Doom games. Now, Doom was actually Doom played a big part in the Columbine massacre because the media actually blamed Doom for being the reason that Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris actually committed this heinous crime. However, there were multiple reports from students and acquaintances of Eric Harris that Harris had recreated Columbine in Doom, Columbine High School, to use as practice. Strangely, these reports all but disappeared within a year of the shooting, and the recreation of the game was never found. Now, I can see why this version of the game would never be found, because it would make Doom look really bad. So the conspiracy is essentially that Doom just said, you know what, let's bury this and forget it ever happened, and this will all blow over. Original Minnesota Iceman. In the 1960s, a man named Frank Hansen discovered a Yeti-like creature in the Minnesota caves. Sorry, I made that up. Okay, look. In the 1960s in Minnesota, a friend named... a man, he could have been a friend, who knows, named Frank Hansen, right? He discovered a Yeti-like creature frozen in ice, and he deemed it the Minnesota Iceman. He took this creature back to his house and had it examined by cryptozoologists, and these cryptozoologists said, yep, this is real, this is legit, put it in the history books. We found a new humanoid creature that connects us to Neanderthals. Frank, he was a paranoid guy. He was scared that he would be accused of killing this thing, because he would have people pay $5 a pop to come see it, something like that. And he actually switched it out with a latex ballistic model. And the cryptozoologist actually came back and said, yeah, this is completely different from what we examined. So some people believe it was real, some people do not. Ammonite sightings. Ammonite sightings are basically alleged sightings of ammonites. Who knew? Very early animal life. If they still existed, they would be very significant in terms of what they meant to evolution. The development of life in zoology. It's worth noting that there is some paleontological, that's a crazy word, evidence to suggest that some ammonites made it past the KPG mass extinction. The event that killed the dinosaurs, if you weren't too familiar with that. Tier 6. Just warning you, we're beginning to enter the depths. This will be the last tier of this video. Part 3 will be the final 2 tiers of this iceberg, where I will cover the most gruesome, insane, disgusting, interesting, fantastic theories on this entire iceberg. So please hit that subscribe button, please, so you won't miss part 3. Alright, let's get into tier 6 of the most obscure conspiracy theory iceberg. Shipping companies funded Netflix. Now for this one, I did plenty of research, looked high and low throughout the internet, surfed all of the web, really couldn't find anything on this. My theory as to why I couldn't find anything on this: Netflix is a huge company. They can pay people to bury things for them, and that's exactly what they did here. I can't even begin to get into what I think this is or why shipping companies would fund Netflix. If you know anything about it, please comment below. I'd love to hear your theories. Pre-Columbian Siberian American trading. This theory pretty much states that before Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1442, one of those, there were intercontinental trades that occurred between multiple continents. We're talking Africa, Asia, but not Europe, to the natives that lived in the Americas way before Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Germany instigated the Spanish-American War. I'm not going to bore you guys with history. It's exactly what it sounds like. Germany instigated the Spanish-American War. The Descent, based on true story. For those of you who don't know, The Descent is a movie about a group of friends that go cave exploring. Great idea, I know. And discover these humanoid monster-like creatures that appear to have lived in these caves forever. And only one friend escapes, right? And this is the story she told. But there's a theory that these humanoid monsters didn't slaughter her friends. She actually slaughtered her friends in the cave, ran out, and blamed it on these monsters. Disney lost fascist cartoons. Now, if your high school / college experience was anything like mine, you may have seen what I'm about to talk about. During World War II, Disney played a hand in the war effort, the morale of Americans, and they actually made Donald Duck a Nazi in one of the short films. I want to say I've seen this before. I don't know. I'll try to find it. If I do, it'll be in this video. But I do know they made a whole bunch of war propaganda trying to get Americans to fight in the war. And hey, if Donald Duck has to be a Nazi to get it done, Donald Duck has to be a Nazi to get it done. I don't know what else to say to you. 1974 serial killer study. This theory is that the United States government allowed some serial killers to continue operating for a time in order to better study. Oh my god. The theory is that the United States allowed some serial killers to continue operating for a time in order to better study criminal behavior and psychological patterns. Law enforcement agencies would tail the suspect, however, allow them to continue the killings. Primarily conducted in areas where killers targeted the less well-off of society. While funny when you mispronounce words, this is actually a pretty crazy conspiracy theory, and I think one of the most interesting in this video. Mostly because it's not that far of a stretch. It's really not that far of a stretch. There's other theories that I can do in other videos where the United States funded, the powder pandemic and distributed it into less well-off neighborhoods. So if that's true, I don't see why this one wouldn't be true. I mean, sacrifice for the greater good, I guess, but it's at the same time, like, I feel like there's better ways to do it. Biblical Leviathan sightings. The Leviathan is said to be a large ocean-dwelling creature mentioned in the Bible. While many believe it to be a metaphor, some have looked for a creature that could have inspired it. A couple of sightings of unknown animals, most notably the many-finned sea serpent, Cleary's fish, marine saran, kraken, and many humped sea serpent, have triggered people to believe that they actually saw the Leviathan. Either that, or they believe that this creature, or whatever creature they saw, inspired the description of the Leviathan. Alright guys, that does it for part 2. Like I said earlier in the video, part 3 will cover the last two tiers of this iceberg. The darkest and the most obscure. So you don't want to miss that one. So please hit that like button, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button. Tickle it a little bit if you want to. And please throw on that bell so you don't miss me posting part 3. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to try to post it before Christmas. We'll see. Depending on when I post this one. I have my Christmas pants on, but I'm not going to show you because the mic's in the way. Yeah, guys, I think that about does it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Be safe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.